Hello, fellow revenue leaders. My name is Jen Spencer, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at SmartBug Media. At SmartBug, we assist businesses in generating leads, increasing awareness, and building brand loyalty through inbound marketing, digital strategy, design, marketing automation, revenue operations, and public relations. Thank you so much for joining me today for this session, How to Fuel Your ABM Strategy with Inbound. Let's dive into the agenda. So first, I want to briefly make the case for inbound. And I want to do this because sometimes when I tell people that I believe inbound can fuel account-based marketing or ABM, they sort of furrow their brow and tell me that that statement is oxymoronic. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to state my case here. Second, I'll dive more specifically into 3 distinct ways that I've seen inbound fuel ABM efforts. And then finally, I want everyone here today to walk away with something actionable. So I'll provide a blueprint for your first ABM campaign that uses inbound marketing tactics. All right, making the case for inbound. So this I know to be true. Marketers who embrace the inbound methodology and apply it to their ABM strategy see stronger engagement among their targeted accounts. And sales teams who leverage inbound selling techniques are better enabled to meet the needs of the humans they interact with throughout the sales process, also known as the buyer's journey. The marketing and sales community has spent a lot of time analyzing buyer behaviors, and in nearly every study I read, I see a case for inbound marketing. We know that 84% of all buying committees have a champion. A champion is the person within your prospective customer's organization who will sell on your behalf when your sales team is not there, like when they're in an internal meeting. They are instrumental in guiding your sales team through their company's decision-making process and will often keep you abreast of any internal happenings that might impact the deal. So they're a pretty important person. Now, how important is the champion? Turns out the champion holds 59% of the purchasing influence over the buying committee. Why? Because in many cases, the champion is the one whose own day-to-day or maybe their team's day-to-day is most significantly benefited by your product or your service. I Googled how to identify your champion in the sales process, and there were over 10 million results. So if you're in sales, there are tons of resources available for you on how to identify your champion in your buying committee. Of course, this is once your deal is ready to close, right? Well, perhaps when you're building your plan by your targeted list of tier 1 accounts, that's going to be really nice to know who that champion is. And here's the thing, 97% of champions, 97%, say they've made their purchasing decision before the buying committee has even formed. That means you have to win them over extremely quickly. And it might even mean that you have deals in your sales pipeline that are actually less viable than your sales team perceives. But if you've already caught the attention of your champion, it means that by the time you get to the pitch, you really just have to make the buying committee believe that the decision they've already made is the right one. But how do you get them to the right decision in the first place? Champions consistently cite content, research, and expertise as primary considerations when they're making a purchase. If you don't have the content and the demonstrated expertise to appeal to that champion, it's going to be much harder for you to get their endorsement. So as marketers, you need to provide them with well-tailored content experiences that directly address each of their needs and their roles. So what does all of this have to do with inbound marketing? Inbound marketing is predominantly about creating practical, relevant content to attract a very specific audience. And account-based marketing, or ABM, focuses on marketing to individuals within named accounts that have predetermined to be a fit for your product or service. Both are about engaging a defined audience, and inbound marketing tactics are the levers that you can pull to fuel your ABM strategy. And while there are many ways inbound marketing techniques can fuel your ABM strategy, for today's conversation, I like to focus on 3. buyer personas, content offers, and web experiences. Buyer personas help marketers understand who the people are within an account so that they can cater their messaging to provide those leads with high quality content specific to each stage of the buyer's journey. And buyer personas help marketers understand more than just a company name and titles. They allow them to work hand in hand with sales to develop persona-based journey maps. Buyer persona research will help inform how a specific persona likes to communicate with your company, what platforms they use as they consume information, what kind of content they enjoy most, and perhaps most importantly, how they make decisions. And buyer persona research flows really nicely into content creation. Because inbound marketing is heavily centered on attracting high quality leads from out in the internet wilderness, it might seem a bit off to incorporate that into an ABM strategy where you already know who your leads are, but this is not the case. Remember that providing value is the cornerstone of any marketing strategy, or else you can come off as too, quote, salesy, right? The leads you're pursuing in your ABM strategy will be educating themselves before they speak to sales, and your content and an inbound approach is the perfect opportunity for them to do that. Creating content and conversion opportunities that are in line with the various buyer personas will allow you to build your brand recognition within those accounts by giving them something they're already looking for. And inbound can also be a great way to find new named accounts to add to your strategy. Now let's take content creation and content offers one step further into the world of customized web experiences. This is something inbound marketers have been serving up for quite some time. My fellow inbound marketers and I have been using smart content or dynamic content to do things like show a certain call to action or other piece of content on a landing page or in an email campaign to one contact, but then show a different call to action or content to another contact, depending on what list those contacts might live on. Practically speaking, we've been doing things like sending one email to an entire list, but changing and having that CTA, I should say, dynamically change on the email that goes out to our existing customers to be more relevant to them versus what a prospect sees. For example, rather than the call to action be asking for a demo, that CTA might be to ask for a customer review. The nature of account-based marketing is hyper-focused, so marketers can use inbound marketing techniques like the one I've outlined to personalize the web experience for the target account entirely. And it doesn't just stop with emails and landing pages. With a content management system like HubSpot's CMS, you can provide completely customized web experiences across all pages of your website. And you don't even have to be a full HubSpot adopter. You actually now can use another marketing automation platform while hosting your website on HubSpot's CMS Hub, which is pretty cool. Now that we've covered the theory, let's spend our remaining time on some tactics and dig into how to launch your first inbound fueled ABM campaign. In order to focus our efforts, let's also recognize that there are three main categories of ABM campaigns: one-to-one, one-to-few, and one-to-many. In a one-to-one campaign, you're targeting one account and designing a campaign entirely for that account. As you can imagine, this approach is highly customized. The only limit to the number of one-to-one campaigns you can run at any given time would be, frankly, your own capacity for resources. One-to-one campaigns can be pretty costly, but typically the ROI is high enough to justify the investment. A one-to-one campaign might make sense if you have several high potential accounts close to the finish line, or if you have cross-sell or upsell opportunities for a few strategic accounts. Or maybe you operate in a very niche market and only serve a select few accounts. So in other words, your ideal customer profile only allows you to help and therefore target a few accounts. In a one-to-few campaign, you're targeting a few accounts and designing a campaign for those accounts that fit similar interests, pains, or goals. And this approach is considered semi-customized. A one-to-few campaign might make sense if you have a set of accounts that can be segmented by vertical, pain points, needs, objectives, interests, or any identifier that allows you to create a campaign that will appeal to a few accounts. And due to the customization, you also need to have the resources to be nimble in creating content that can allow you to quickly modify content to suit each of the few accounts you're targeting. For example, you might create an explainer video that swaps in the target account's story and information. For those inbound marketers joining us today, this is the type of ABM campaign I'd recommend you attempt first. But before we move into those campaign tactics, there's one more ABM campaign category to cover. One-to-many. In a one-to-many campaign, you're targeting a larger number of specific accounts with little to no customization. This type of campaign is going to be a good fit if a higher volume of opportunities or engagement is more important to you. Or perhaps you want to attract attention for a brand initiative to a broad audience. Maybe you're hosting a conference. As you decide on the best approach for your company and budget, I can't underscore enough how important it is that you really assess the quality of data on your accounts. If you're starting with nothing, you may take a slightly different approach by running one-to-many campaigns via display networks because buying individual account data can be expensive. If you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and have too much data that's likely no good, starting one-to-one and cleaning up data on those key accounts might be a better approach. As I've mentioned, my favorite inbound to ABM crossover campaign is one-to-few. So let's wrap up our session today with the tools you'll need for this type of adventure. All right, friends, let's tackle your first one-to-few ABM campaign. Step one is to leverage a data source. Personally, I like ZoomInfo, but there are definitely a lot of others out there. But leverage that data source to identify a list of accounts segmented by vertical, location, size, and perhaps even technology usage. And then step two is to develop a comprehensive campaign that speaks to the pain points the buyer personas in that targeted list most likely share. Your campaign is not simply a one-off email. I recommend a robust content campaign that might include things like a series of blog articles, multiple social media posts driving traffic back to your site, and some kind of premium content anchor like an ungated guide or a comprehensive resource that supports and educates the buyer. Next, you want to pair that content anchor with an interactive tool that's extremely high in value to your buyer personas. I'll tell you that for us right now, our competitive sales battle card that we've created specifically for software companies has been a huge driver of revenue attribution. It's something tangible our ideal customers have shown us they need. And as soon as they provide their contact information through the form submission, we're providing them with value. Now, you take this all one step further by using those interactive and intelligent web experiences to create some personalization on those pages. So when someone actually visits that landing page for that battle card, you greet them with personalized information that lets you know what company they're from and what problems they might be experiencing. Now, as a layer to this content offer, you want to amplify your research with a paid media campaign. So this might include some display retargeting to the visitors who came to your site but maybe didn't convert on your anchor content, but it also might include an awareness campaign that promotes the content offer to a curated audience on a channel like LinkedIn, or a broader but very well segmented audience by using an account-based platform like Rollworks or Terminus. And then don't forget about your dedicated lead nurture campaign that uses the power of marketing automation to further engage the contacts that have converted on your campaign. And this is where very specific customization for those target accounts can be leveraged as well. You can use marketing automation like you have within HubSpot, Marketo, or Pardot. Use that marketing automation to create workflows that segment the lead nurture based on the company that individual is with. And finally, anything account-based requires the partnership of marketing and sales. So as the cherry on top of your one to few ABM campaign Sunday, supply your sales team with the corresponding sales enablement resources that they'll need as they engage the entire buying committee for their target accounts. ROI calculators, case studies, pitch decks, these are all great examples of sales enablement content your sales team will need as they work these deals. I know I've covered a lot today in a short period of time. And if you want to dive in a little bit deeper, I've got a free course for you, how to combine ABM and inbound to generate more qualified leads. This will teach you the key differences between inbound and ABM methodologies, how ABM and inbound complement each other to drive more qualified leads, what a sample ABM inbound campaign looks like, and it will provide you with ideas and tactics you can implement immediately. Just visit tinyurl.com/ABE Summit. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone.